You are now listening to the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. Here is your host, Blaine Spencer.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. And, it's been pretty nice for me the last couple weeks as a Warriors fan. Marcus and I kind of predicted the future and getting that Warriors prediction correct. Unfortunately, the world has decided not to return to normal like Marcus and I had predicted on that front as well, but it's trying. But I want to welcome in a couple of guests as we are starting our NFL Divisional Breakdown. We're going to break down every division. We'll look at all the teams. And today is the NFC North. And I have my two Packers insiders, basically is what I so call them. I've got Justin Marvel from #ThisJustIn, and I have my friend Dwayne Marcus from GTP Marcus. Go Talk. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Aaron Rodgers hasn't been traded yet, right?
As of now, it looked like he was enjoying life in Tahoe in the American Century Golf Tournament with all the celebs.
Well, then life is good once Aaron Rodgers is still in tone, and for however long that is, probably 2 years. So, yeah.
Life's good. I'm just really tired. I'm extremely exhausted, but here I am, I guess.
Well, so basically, from what I'm hearing, Marcus is going to be half asleep by halfway through the show, so that'll be fine. I will just be muting Marcus throughout and removing his screen, and Justin and I will be doing the show as a duo instead.
I think by the time that we get to Chicago or Detroit, Dwayne's going to be gone. What's this? And you really should be sleeping by that time.
The whole point is that Detroit and Chicago are so irrelevant right now that it won't be a part of that anyway. So the conversation will be very quick and painless in that front, because we'll just be discussing how ugly it's going to be for those two teams. So
it's possible. It's possible.
But without further ado, let's jump in, gentlemen. Let's look at your guys' Green Bay Packers. The biggest news is that Aaron Rodgers is, as Justin mentioned, still there. It does change on a minute-to-minute basis, it feels like, with Aaron, depending on what he's feeling or what he wants to tell Pat McAfee, depending on his mood and feelings. But the bigger story is that there is no more Davante Adams because of the Aaron Rodgers situation. It felt like that relationship has kind of fallen off of the rails once it came to Aaron decided to take the money instead of trying to help Davante get his extension to stay. Davante is now in Vegas. The Packers have made a couple other decent moves this offseason. Gentlemen, Justin, let's start with you. You've got your Packers helmet, your Packers jersey on. What are we going to see from Green Bay this year? What are the expectations?
I think the expectations always have to be, title or bust. Once 12 has on his jersey, that's always been the reality since year 2 or year 3 of his time at starting. It's always been championship or bust for us in Green Bay. I will push back a bit though, Blaine. I think Davante left. The more and more you hear, the more and more I get the sense that Davante left for 2 reasons. One was because of how he thought the front office perceived him during the season in terms of not doing contract negotiations during the season and waiting towards the end, like prioritizing getting Aaron Rodgers back. And 2, it seems like he really just wanted to be back home or close to family. It really does seem so. And the relationship between him and Rodgers, I think it's still good and still strong. Like, you've seen them in the offseason. I think you've even been golfing together. But sorry to go on a tangent. What you will see, it's title or bust. I think they're going to win the NFC North again. Like, shocker. And it's going probably at the very worst, maybe the third best record in the entire NFC. But what you will see, Blaine, what you can expect is, I think, a shift in philosophy where the Packers are concerned. We're used to seeing this high-powered offense led by 12. But since Matt LaFleur has come, you're seeing more of a grown game. Like, that is what that offense is predicated on, the Mike Shanahan running zone scheme offense. So, and through the drafts of recent, you've seen what the Packers really intend to become under Brian Gutekunst, the general manager. Every single year, it is one or multiple first-round picks on defense. So you can start with from as far back as Kenny Clark. You go out to Rashaan Gary, Jair Alexander, Quay Walker, Eric Stokes last year. I think what you're going to see is not exactly the prolific offense that we're accustomed to. It is going to be a lot of running the ball to control the clock. And I think, and here is the one hot take I have tonight, I think you are going to see a top 5 defense out of the Green Bay Packers this season.
All right, so let me just counter what you're trying to say here with this top 5 defense nonsense, because basically it's not the Green Bay Packers, it's the Georgia Packers, because everything they draft is coming out of the University of Georgia, basically, especially with 2 more picks this year. And then if we're talking about Stokes last year, they don't have linebackers. That's their issue.
That's categorically false. Actually,
in the middle.
Devondre Campbell was a second All-Team Pro last season after we picked him up on the street as an inside linebacker, and we just drafted one of the Georgia kids that you just mentioned, Quay Walker. Quay
Walker is going to be playing on the edge, man. Let's be honest.
No, because we have Rashaan Gary and Preston Smith on the edge. He's going to be playing the other linebacker, the will linebacker.
Walker was a specialist at Georgia for his pass rush.
I am not doubting you. I'm just telling you how they expect to use him, because even when you hear him in the interviews within the Packers organization, the person's name he keeps bringing up over and over and over again is our inside linebacker, Devondre Campbell. He said how much he's learning from him, how much he has, grown from being next to him or talking to him, et cetera, et cetera. You will see him next to Devondre Campbell on the inside, and you're going to see Preston Smith and Rashaan Gary on the outside.
Okay, and then the next thing would be the issue with you guys was also the secondary. I know Jair was hurt. How do you guys factor in, especially it was the slot corners where you guys were getting burnt heavily, was when you had the third corner in there on the slot?
Do you want to go since I've been talking so much?
Well, you've been doing a really good job, so I think I'll just sit here and wait my turn. That's just fine. I prefer to follow up and talk about all the things that Justin has stated wrong anyway. So let's just keep it coming so I can just get it all out the way.
So Marcus is all about his Packers, but he just doesn't want. He wants to not mitigate and give credit to Justin's comments.
Well,
sure, yeah, let's get it all out the way. I'll follow up. That's fine.
For the slot corner, I don't know, but I think you're going to see again. You have a wealth of talent now at the position, because you drafted Eric Stokes last year. Jair Alexander returns, and at the very worst, I think he's a top 5 corner in this league. And then on top of that, you forget, oh my gosh, Rasul Douglas, the season that he had last year. So it is a wealth of talent. No, somebody's going to have to shift to the slot position, whether that be Rasul Douglas or whether that be Jair Alexander. I don't know. I do not see Eric Stokes manning that. Jair Alexander, all 3 of these are outside corners. I have a suspicion that it's probably going to be the best of the 3 that may have to spend time at the slot just because of his ability and his versatility, and that would be Jair Alexander. But I think you are now mentioning a position of strength for the Green Bay Packers when you're talking about Eric Stokes, you're talking about Jair Alexander, and also Rasul Douglas. We saw the season that he had. You may be talking about the strongest part of this Green Bay roster.
Marcus, what do you got? Lay it on me. You said you weren't agreeing with what Justin was putting down.
Yeah, well, I mean, Justin's always been a pretty negative guy. I mean, Justin had Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay 2.5 years ago. So it's I mean, there's a couple of things. Number one, this is still gonna be a top 5 offense. I mean, it's hard to have
a top 5 offense.
There is potential. There is top 5 offensive potential. Yeah, there is no Devontae Adams show, and there's no Marcus Valdez-Scantling show. You still got Allen Lazard, right? You bring in Christian Watson. You have Randall Cobb. There's a trust factor there with Aaron Rodgers. You have one of the better backfield duos in the league in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and both of whom can catch balls out of the backfield. We're getting Robert Tonyan back, who is one of the best tight ends from 20 to end zone in the league right now. The offense isn't. I mean, the offense is going to take a step back. This is still going to be a run-heavy offense, which it's what it's been despite Davante Adams being on the field with Aaron Rodgers. As far as Davante Adams' relationship with Aaron Rodgers, well, I don't doubt that they're still good friends. Let's not ignore Davante Adams' words for what they were. Davante Adams explicitly said that one of the main reasons why he left Green Bay to go to Las Vegas was because of the uncertainty surrounding Aaron Rodgers' future, and he didn't like that, so he left. That, I mean, sure, you want to be close to family, you want to go play with your buddy Derek Carr. I have no doubt that those factors as well, but we're talking about the best receiver in football playing with a first ballot Hall of Famer, and if Aaron Rodgers leaves, he's going to be catching ball from Jordan Love. That's not what Davante wants to do. Davante wants to compete for a championship. So, and he said that. That's straight from the horse's mouth. Not that Davante Adams is a horse, right. But that's what he said.
Wait. So that doesn't mean that. So, because what Blaine was saying that he felt that there is a deterioration with the relationship. So basically, you are saying he didn't want to be there because Aaron Rodgers might not be there, and that's completely different.
That's exactly what Davante.
About Davante Rodgers that Davante because of the issue of what Marcus.
That is what Blaine said. Blaine said that Davante Adams left to go to Vegas because of the uncertainty surrounding Aaron Rodgers' long-term future in Green Bay.
Oh, sorry. They misunderstood that. But yeah.
So that's I mean, there's no doubt that they're still buddies. I mean, we see them play golf. We've seen them play golf a couple times over the past couple off seasons. So that's number one. Number two. I agree with you. I do think this is going to be a top 5 defense. We're talking about a lot of talent. I don't think the secondary is going to be the strength. I think actually the front seven is going to be the strength. I mean, aren't many front sevens in football that can combat what Green Bay has with the front seven when you're talking about D-line and middle linebacker and linebacking core. Rashaan Gary, I think, is going to have a breakout season. Could be potentially. I'm not saying he will be, but it's possible that maybe we see Rashaan Gary have such a good season defensively this season that maybe he's a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year. I think the additions of the Georgia Bulldogs defensively will be nice. You still got Devontae Campbell, you still have Rasul Douglas. The one issue I have with this defense is that Kevin King is still on the payroll. I don't know why the Green Bay Packers
I knew Kevin King was going to be a part of this show.
But aside from that, that's not the point. He's getting paid, and that's unacceptable. I mean, by and large, the team, if we're being realistic, the Green Bay Packers are still going to be a really good football team. The one issue and the biggest issue I have is that Justin, much like every other Green Bay Packers fan and most other NFL football people that are fans of historic franchises, we have to let's get rid of this title or bust nonsense. All right, it's out the window. Let's just be completely honest. The Green Bay Packers aren't winning a title ever again. It's going to be a long time before we see the Green Bay Packers win a title. Like, it's going to be a really long time. And you're making this face, but in the last 16 playoff games that Aaron Rodgers has played, he's 7-9. Like, the home field advantage that existed back when you were a young buck and back when football was in black and white just doesn't exist anymore in Green Bay. It just doesn't. All right, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is fantastic. I love the offense. I love Matt LaFleur. I love what's going on in Green Bay offensively and defensively. This is not a championship team. It's just not. This is a team that has a 33% chance to make it to the Super Bowl. That's if they can get past the Rams and the Bucks. And then they've got 25% chance because if the 49ers sneak into the playoffs, who knows? Then you're staring down what? Maybe the Chiefs. They're talking about the Bengals, the Bills, the Ravens, maybe. There's just too many good young quarterbacks with really good teams offensively that I think are going to be better than Packers this season. So let's get rid of this title or bust nonsense. That's why we always end up in a slew of depression after the offseason, Justin, is because we have these we set these high expectations. This isn't a title or bust season. This can't be a title or bust season. It makes no sense for this to be a title or bust season when the team has regressed. Like if we're being realistic, the team that is stepping onto the field this season is not better than the team that we put on the field in week 1. It's just not. So this isn't a title or bust season. It can't be a title or bust season when you've lost the best receiver in football and you've also lost a very reliable receiver as well. I still think the offense will be great, but to say this is a title bust season is just absurd and it's unrealistic because even if the Packers do get out of the NFC, are we really going to say the Packers have a strong chance of beating the Bills in the Super Bowl? I don't think so. Are they going to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I don't think so. And it's not me being like a Debbie Downer like Justin is all the time. It's me just being realistic.
Debbie Downer here.
There's a difference between being negative and being realistic. Like, this is the reality of the situation. The Buffalo Bills are the best team in football. That's a fact. Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football. That's also a fact. Like, there is no. There are facts. There is not one quarterback in football, and I know we're Packers fans, and this is a tough pill for you to swallow. I get it, but
I don't have to be a Packers
Josh
fan.
Allen. That's Josh Allen at this point, heading into this season, is going to have a better season than Aaron Rodgers. Like, we need to recognize that. He's going to throw. The only thing that Aaron Rodgers will do better than Josh Allen is touchdown interception ratio. That's because he does it better than everyone all the time. Aside from that, I still expect Josh Allen to throw for more yards. I still expect Josh Allen to throw for more touchdowns. Like, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills being a really good team offensively, a really good team defensively. They're probably the only team in football right now, aside from the Rams, to have a legitimate shot of being a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. To say that the Packers is a title or bust, I think is just extremely unrealistic, and it's setting ourselves up for failure, because come December or January, whether it's an exit, that a loss in the playoffs that we shouldn't have, in a game we shouldn't have lost, like the 49ers last season, or a devastating loss where we're just on the cusp of back to the Super Bowl, like in the 2020 or 2019 NFC Championship. At the end of the day, come Super Bowl Sunday, Justin, you and I are going to be sitting at home doing preview shows, and the Packers won't be on the show flow. Like, that's just the reality that we have to accept.
But here's the thing, though. So I'm going to push back. No, like, the reality situation, you don't give Aaron Rodgers that 3-year contract, $150 million. Plus, if you were thinking, let's just play this out to the end of his career. No,
that's not true either. That's not necessarily true. Would you rather field Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers?
I let you go, so I'm going to continue now.
The first of very few times ever in our time knowing each other that you've done that.
So here we go. You don't give Aaron Rodgers that contract if you're telling yourself you're not going all in to win a title. Yes, Davante Adams is gone, and I'm not going to tell you this team is not regressed over the last 2 seasons, but you're only looking at one side of football. So Davante Adams is gone. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is gone. There's no doubt about that. And as I said, the philosophy has to change. The reality of the situation is you've gotten better on the other side of the football. There's 3 sides of the football here. You've gotten better defensively by the fact that Jair Alexander is going to play football. That alone makes you better defensively. Quay Walker, and I don't know why I keep forgetting the other Georgia Bulldog that we dropped in the first round. There you go. You've added those 2 to key areas that you had problems. Like, the biggest weakness of that Packers defense was up the front, stopping the run. So now you put somebody big next to Kenny Clark on top of another inside linebacker next to Devondre Campbell in Quay Walker. So immediately your defense is going to get better. And on top of that, the best left tackle in football is returning in terms of David Bakhtiari, plus his inside mate, Elton Jenkins, which formed the best left side in terms of running the football on that offensive line. All of these players are set to return. So yes, we've lost you've lost Davante Adams, but the biggest addition I think made is the third side of the football.
Sammy Watkins.
Whatever. The biggest addition where we lost that San Francisco game was all on special teams, because all 13 points you can point to a special teams disaster. You're getting the best special teams coach in all of football as you're leading that team, leading that unit. You're going to automatically get better there. So yes, you've lost Davante Adams, but does that mean? And on top, you just said we're also getting back Robert Tonyan. I'm not here to tell you that the Green Bay Packers are the best team in football, but through the entire regular season, none of us said that the Los Angeles Rams were the best team in football either, and they won the Super Bowl. When you get to the playoffs, it is a one-and-done situation. Any number can play. And I'm saying, for the moment that Aaron Rodgers plays football for the Green Bay Packers with the money he's getting and all these defensive pieces that you've brought in, you're not playing Rich Bisaccia that much money to be your special teams coordinator, not even your head coach. You're not playing Rich Bisaccia all that money to be your special teams coordinator. If indeed your ethos, and this is the words of Aaron Rodgers, Brian Gutekunst, and Matt LaFleur, if your ethos this season is not title or bust.
Once again, you've missed the point that I was making. I haven't denied any of the things that you're saying. I'm not saying the Packers are going to come out here and stink up the joint. Of course not.
I didn't say
Obviously,
that either.
Let me finish. Obviously, you put Aaron Rodgers on the field, and it means that, listen, we do this all the time, especially the quarterback position. I was just talking about this with the 49ers, right? You have 2 options here. You have a first ballot Hall of Famer, and you have a guy that's played 2 games professionally in 2 years.
And the only
Of course,
player that was drafted by the team on the offensive side of
course-
the ball in like
Of
the
course,
last
you're going
decade.
to pay the back-to-back MVP over the guy that's only played 2 games in the NFL since he's
But
been drafted. So that's
not necessarily so. You could just rebuild.
Justin. You laid out this everything that you just said was centered around you bring back Aaron Rodgers so that you can win a championship. I'm not denying that. I understand that Aaron Rodgers is the best chance we have at winning a championship. Just like Russell Wilson was the best chance Seattle had at winning a championship. Just like, and whether they want to admit it or not, just like Jimmy Garoppolo is the best shot that the 49ers have winning a championship. I can go on and on and on and on. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am saying is, when you look at the Green Bay Packers and you look at what they've done over the last 3 seasons, I get it. Okay, 3 consecutive seasons of 13 wins and it's resulted in a whole bunch of nothing. It resulted in nothing. It's resulted in 2 losses in the NFC Championship game, one of which was a blowout, and a loss in the division round last year in a game that we should not have lost. What I am saying is, every season we're starting to get to this point now, and I hate to say this because I don't like to say this, but like, we're starting to get to this point as Packers fans. We're starting to sound a little bit like Cowboys fans a little bit, where it's like title or bust every year. And all I'm saying is, it is unrealistic to have title expectations for a football team that has regressed offensively as much as the Green Bay Packers have regressed offensively. And you just yourself admitted that you don't think that the Green Bay Packers are going to be this offensive powerhouse that we've been for the last 3 seasons. That matters when you're talking about. Forget the AFC for a second. I know there are only really 3 good teams in the NFC, but you're talking about an NFC conference that is stacked offensively. You're talking about the Los Angeles Rams. You're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, you're looking at the Packers. You're looking at potentially the Eagles being really good offensively this season. The Saints have a potential to be really good offense this season as well. The Minnesota Vikings are likely going to be a really good offense in the NFC as well. Okay. On the defensive side of the ball, the Buccaneers, that's a championship defense. The Rams, championship defense. You're talking about the Saints have a really good defense. They've been top 5, top 7 the past 3 seasons. So this isn't a situation where, like last season, heading into the season, clearly it made perfect sense to say, oh yeah, it's title or bust for the Green Bay Packers. That's not the case this season. And to say that, it's not me being negative. It's not me being a Debbie Downer. It's not even being harsh. It's just speaking the truth. And the truth is, while of course the Packers are the best team in the division, they're at best the 3rd best team in the conference. And if you're talking about the entire football league in general, and including the AFC, I'm hard pressed to put the Packers in the top 5 football teams in the NFL right now. And there's only 4 teams I think have a legitimate shot of making it to the Super Bowl right now. So what I'm saying
Did you have the Bengals as one of those last season? No. You didn't.
Comparing whoa. Now let me respond to that. No, let me answer your question. You asked me a question, I answer. No, I didn't. But you comparing the Bengals last season to the Packers this season is the laziest take you've ever had, because the Bengals entering last season hadn't had any moniker of success ever. We called them the Bungles, for crying out loud. They sucked. They didn't have a championship anything. That is not the same thing as a team that has been there, that has been held to championship expectations and has consistently failed for the last, really, the better part of a decade now. But if we're being more recent, just the last 3 years.
So you're seeing that. So back up, because you're missing my point. I am not telling you the Packers are title favorites. I'm not that crazy.
I didn't say you said that. You said it's title or bust. And I'm saying putting this.
And when
it can't be title or bust if this isn't this roster.
For them, when they put together that roster for them, when they take the field, it is title or bust. They're not going.
When you're talking about title or bust, to me, because I think clearly we have 2 different definitions of title or bust.
Have 2 different definitions.
When I say title or bust, I'm looking at teams that either have a lot to prove or B, are foolproof. There's no questions. There are only 4 teams in football that don't have any questions concerning how great they'll be this season. It's the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, because they're still going to be good offensively. They'll still be great defensively. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, who were also in the Super Bowl last season, because they improved at the one place that you swore up and down they wouldn't, which was their biggest need. And while they got better in their division, everyone else in their division got worse. So they're a foolproof team. They got their I know there's some issues with Jesse Bates right now, but by and large, that's a really good defense, a really good offense, and they were there last season. They're proven. The Buffalo Bills, as I mentioned, the best team in football. They are a foolproof. They have, like I said earlier, potential to be top 5 and top 5 offensively and defensively. Off the top of my head, the last team to do that was New Orleans Saints in Drew Brees' last season a couple years ago. The fourth team would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they brought back Tom Brady. They still have pretty much everybody on the roster that won the championship for them 2 years ago, except for Rob Gronkowski. But they've got Cameron Brate coming into the lineup. They still got Chris Godwin. They still have Mike Evans. They still have the running back room. They still have the offensive line and the defense as well. Those are the only 4 teams, if we're being honest, that have no questions about them offensively, defensively, or coaching. Every other team in football has a question, and we could just run down the list. And we've been talking about it the entire offseason, and you and I have said it so many times, it's getting redundant. Everyone says, oh, well, what's the offense going to look like without Davante Adams? Now, we know in 11 games without Davante Adams, the Packers are undefeated under Aaron Rodgers, but we're not going to go 17-0 this season. Something's bound to give. We're talking about a lot of new faces in the wide receiver room. That's a question. As great as the defense is, are Quez Watkins and Devontae Wyatt going to be able to fit in and produce the way that we as fans expect them to this season on such a quick at such a quick rate to bolster the championship defense? That's a question. The Cowboys have questions. The Vikings have questions. Every other team in the NFC has questions outside of Buccaneers and Rams. Every other team in the AFC has questions outside of Bills and Bengals. And so what I'm saying is, if I'm talking about a title or bust, I'm looking at the only teams in football that are bona fide Super Bowl contenders. And right now, the Green Bay Packers heading into this season are not Super Bowl contenders. You bring up the Bengals is different. That comes from them not having proven anything. The Packers, we do this all the time. Going into we've done this for the last at least 4 or 5 years of talking about title or bust.
No, so I'm going to answer no. Like, title or
bust
bust for me, right?
But okay.
Justin's definition is that Aaron Rodgers is on the roster, so the expectation for the team should be Super Bowl or bust.
No, that's not my definition. When a team has a title or bust mentality, right, it is either we win a title, and I mean, when you say title or bust, this comes from the organization outward. I don't mean fans' expectations. So when that team hits the field, right, meaning the Green Bay Packers, for this 2022 season, anything short of a title for them is a disappointment. And that's reality situation. That's how they view it.
Okay, right. That's
not the case.
No, it is. You don't play football or you don't play basketball without wanting to win a championship. And you just interrupted me before I was done. You don't get into this business to win if you're not trying to win a championship. That's how it works. That's not true. These people
get paid. It doesn't matter if you're a small market team or not, because they are still a team in the NFL because they want to win a championship.
Come on, guys. Do you think honestly, the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears in this division alone are thinking that they're going to win a championship this 22? They may tell their players.
That's not what either me or Brian. That's not what me or Blaine just said. What me or Blaine just said is you don't get into this business if winning a championship isn't on your mind. Justin, we've been saying that the Packers are Super Bowl or bust for the past 10 years.
Can I blast it talk? Jesus Christ, is this a one-man show? Is this a soliloquy? If there are teams that have
this is must listen on the final whistle.
Green Bay Packers are in their mind, in their house. When you talk about the Chicago Bears, their front office right now is not telling themselves we are going into 2022 to win a title. The head coach does not have that feeling. The front office does not have that feeling. The Green Bay Packers right now, as constituted, whether we want to put them in the top 10 teams or not, however we feel as fans or not, the ethos within the building is either we win a title or this is another wasted season. We can talk about the Buffalo Bills, all of these other teams for Auburn, and that is fine. These teams are legit or probably better than the Green Bay Packers. That is not the argument. A title or bust season comes from the organization. And the organization with the team and the payroll that they put out there are telling themselves, and I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, the organization is telling themselves right now, if the Packers do not win the Super Bowl, whether we feel they can or not, it is a wasted season. And that is the definition of title or bust. The Green Bay Packers view the 2022 season and every single season that Aaron Rodgers has remaining on his contract as title or bust. You think that they were happy last season losing in the divisional round? No. Do you think that they were satisfied?
I never said they were.
Right, but do you think they were satisfied losing in back-to-back NFC title games?
No. I didn't say they were.
Because their aspirations are to win a title, and if they don't, it is a disappointment for every single man in the franchise. And that's all it is.
And again, like me and Blaine said, you don't get into the world of sports. I don't care if you're a golfer, a swimmer, a basketball player. I don't care if you play rugby. I don't care if you play cricket. I don't care if you play billiards. I don't care what you play. You're not putting on a uniform or putting in all these hours of reps in sports if you're not trying to win a championship. The Memphis Grizzlies, who had a long shot to win the championship, were devastated to not win the championship this past season. The Minnesota
Memphis Grizzlies look at last season as a success. The Memphis Grizzlies looked at the season as a success.
Justin, I didn't say that they didn't. See, now you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say they didn't. You just mentioned. Let me finish, and I'll tell you. What you just said is, if you're in a position to win a championship and you don't do that, that then becomes disappointing. You think John Morant and Jaren Jackson and Dylan Brooks and all those guys in Memphis went home after losing the Golden State Warriors and said, oh, well, at least we got to the second round of the Western Finals? No, they were in the playoffs. They had a chance to win a championship. They're devastated by that.
So hold on. Do you think their general manager, head coach, view their season as a disappointment? And the answer is no.
I didn't say that they did. What I'm saying
that if you get into
what I'm saying is when you get into this business, you are getting into the business to win a championship. Let me finish. No, you just blasted both of us for not letting you finish. It's my turn. What I'm saying is because you want to talk about the Lions and the Bears. Let's talk about the Lions and the Bears. Neither of us believe this because I think the Bears are going to be the worst team in football this season. I agree. Let's just throw this hypothetical out here. Let's just throw this hypothetical out here, Justin, and I want you to really sit here and listen to me, okay? The Bears stink. Absolutely, the Bears stink. Let's just say, though, by some act of God, the Chicago Bears are in the 2022 playoffs. You don't think from the moment they step foot on the field in the playoffs that they're not now trying to gun for the Super Bowl? Yes, because once you make – okay, so what I am saying is I'm not denying the point that heading into the season, there are teams that obviously have championships on their mind heading into the season. But I'm also saying there is a section of teams like the Philadelphia Eagles last season, like the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2017, like the Minnesota Vikings in 2017. There are teams that aren't focused on a Super Bowl at the start of week one, but in the event they get it, they find themselves in a position where they can win a championship and they don't do it, they go home disappointed. I'm not saying that is your argument, but what I'm saying is when you're talking about the disappointment of a season, the disappointment of a season varies from team to team and it varies from situation. Because here's the thing. The Chicago Bears this season can view, if they don't make the playoffs, an 8-win season as success. But here's the thing. If the Chicago Bears make it into the playoffs, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to be disappointed if their playoff run doesn't result in a championship. That is the fact. That is a fact of life that comes with sports. So what I'm saying is, while you can have the perception, or while the organization can have the perception entering week one that it's title or bust, what I'm saying right now is having a title or bust expectation from the offset when you don't really know what Christian Watson is going to look like against guys like the elite of the elite in the secondary, when you don't exactly know what Wyatt and Walker are going to do as rookies defensively, when you don't exactly know if Robert Tonyan can truly stay healthy this offseason, given that he's coming off of an ACL injury, when you don't really know what the chemistry is going to be like between Alan Lazard or an Amari Rodgers or Randall Cobb or Sammy Watkins with Aaron Rodgers. Look, the training camp stuff sounds beautiful. Trust me, every time I read it, I smile. It makes me happy. I love it. I want to see a Super Bowl, despite what I'm saying. Trust me, and you know this. I want to see the Lombardi Trophy come back to Green Bay. You know I want that. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, just because the expectation is title or bust right now, that is what you expect from a roster that is constructed in such a way with the history that the Green Bay Packers have. The San Francisco 49ers fans, and I was just on a show yesterday, actually. The San Francisco 49ers fans expect this season to be title or bust. Why? Just the San Francisco 49ers, and they have the history. The Pittsburgh Steelers, there are a lot of fans in Pittsburgh that think, oh yeah, maybe we can win a championship this season. Why? Because it's Pittsburgh. We clown the Dallas Cowboys all the time about the Cowboys thinking it's championship or bust because it's the Dallas Cowboys. I think
they have a title or bust aspirations. They can understand way too.
It's possible, but what I'm saying is a championship expectations vary as the season wanes on. And all I'm saying is right now, because of all the questions that are surrounding the team, I think it's too soon to put a official title or bust stamp on this season. That's all I'm saying, because we can get out there the first half of the season or throughout the course of the season and the offense stinks without Devontae Adams. It's possible. You and I don't think that that's going to happen, but it's possible. And so what I'm saying is, until we get these questions answered, for me, I'm not going to say it's championship or nothing, because we've been doing that for the last 5 to 7 years, and it's resulted in all Packer fans around the world falling into a slew of depression from January to September. That's just how that's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying we should pump the brakes on our expectations.
Living.
Yeah, well, we got 3 other teams, so yeah, go ahead.
3 other teams, and I knew the Packers were going to be a hot take. I didn't know you two were going to be going for each other's throats tonight. I didn't know. I know this.
It's all love with me and Justin, but it happens all the time. He's got such an antiquated view on things because he's up there in age. I don't know. Maybe I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed or what, but there's always something. There's always a point of contingency.
All right, gentlemen, let's jump to the team that finished second in the division, even though we may be coming back to Green Bay at some point because this conversation has been incredible. But let's look at the Minnesota Vikings. We know who's at quarterback. It's Captain Kirk for another year. As a Washington fan, thank God he's not with us because I despised him when he was there, even though I'd
So you take Commander Carson over Kirk Cousins.
Interesting. I would take Kirk Cousins over Commander Carson.
That's not what you just said.
I literally just threw up in my mouth saying that.
That's not what you just said, though. You just said thank God he's not in Washington.
Well, that just goes to show how bad we are going to be. So that's for another show. But
please bring me on that show so I can talk about your. Please.
All right. So again, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen. The offense is always high flying with Minnesota, and we think that their offenses could arguably be top 5, as Marcus has already said on this episode. But the real question mark comes from the defensive side of the ball, where they're absolutely horrendous and inconsistent. They did bring in Zadarius Smith, who was actually formerly in Green Bay, who is coming off of an injury. What do we see with Minnesota, Marcus? I know a lot of their games were one possession, but it doesn't matter when you're playing a game that's roughly 35-30 and they're trying to outscore everyone when Kirk Cousins is your quarterback. So talk to me.
Well, I mean, just real quick, this is the thing, right? So the Vikings won, 8 games last season, just off the strength of their offense alone. And I don't off the top, and I have my rankings pulled up, and just looking here, they're the only team they are one of 2 or 3 teams, I think, on my list here that have a top 15 running back, wide receiver, and quarterback by my estimation. That's just at a quick glance at
you can make
my
the argument that they might have
my
2
notes.
top 15 wide receivers.
You could make that argument that they have 2 15 wide receivers, but I think Kirk Cousins is top 15 at his position. I think Dalvin Cook is absolutely top 15 at his position, and I think that Justin Jefferson undeniably is top 15. In fact, he's top 3. He's number 2 to be more specific. But the defense is fine. It'll be an okay defense. It's just old. That's the issue. Yeah, there's a lot of age on this defense, and I think that is the issue when you're looking at some of the better defenses in the league, right? So we're talking about, the Bills, we're talking about the Packers, as me and Justin talked about earlier. We're talking about the Rams. There are a lot of defenses that are filled with a healthy balance of youth and veterans, right? The Vikings don't have that. I believe the youngest player on their defense is that'll be a starter. So the youngest player on their starting 11, I believe, is 28. I don't know who it is, but I think the youngest player on their starting 11 is 28 years old.
They'll probably start that rookie scene, though, out of
they probably will start the rookie that they drafted. But I don't know exactly how well this defense is going to be able to keep up with the Green Bay Packers offense. How they're going to be able to keep up with the Los Angeles Rams offense. That's the difference. So I think they'll be right back where they were last season. Well, all of their games that they win will be off the strength of their offense alone. We saw the Detroit Lions on the backstretch of the season make the defense look silly, and their quarterback is Jared Goff. So if you struggle against the Lions offense, I don't know.
You brought up the play that just drives me bonkers in football, which happened in that game. Can someone tell me how you start your defensive backs 5 yards into the end zone? Can somebody just tell me that? You have to get 20 yards at the end of the game, and there's a quick in route, and they catch the ball right at the goal line because they're 5 yards into the end zone. Like how bad? They're not smart.
I think if you were going to poach someone off of anything, it should have been a defensive coordinator, not the OC. That's no disrespect to Kevin O'Connell, but they don't have offensive problems. They have defensive problems, and they're going to still have defensive problems this season.
So it's weird you brought up that play, and it's weird that happened because Mike Zimmer is known as one of the best defensive back / secondary coaches that's been around like ever. Like, that's what Mike Zimmer's claim to fame is. So it was weird to watch that as well. I think that this is a playoff contender. I don't expect that. And their primary concern on defense is actually stopping run. I do not expect them to be that bad again. I think they're like bottom 5 in terms of yards and like bottom 3 in terms of yards per carry. I think like 4.8.
They're horrendous. They can't stop.
They were bad against
They can't stop
run.
a cold.
And I do not foresee them being that bad. Obviously, Kevin O'Connell's calling is on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to get to that shortly. I don't foresee them being that bad in terms of stopping your run. And reality is the only one team in division right now that can take advantage of that. And, the Green Bay Packers, because of how the other teams' philosophies are going forward in that division are. If they get a healthy Zadarius Smith or 80% Zadarius Smith, which is probably what they're angling for because they don't know if he's ever going to be fully healthy again. He is, I think, one of the most underrated and also versatile defenders because not only is he primarily a pass rusher, but he's a guy that can, stop and run, like his namesake, Preston Smith. No shots at my guy, Preston. But anyhow, I think primary problem with Minnesota beyond just the defense was the fact that Mike Zimmer is a defensive-minded head coach. And the reason I say that, defensive-minded head coaches tend to be very conservative in play calling and in terms of going for it and relying on kickers. And as we've known and watched Minnesota over the last 5 years, I don't think there is one particular team who has had the misfortune of game-winning or game-losing kicks quite like the Minnesota Vikings. And with Kevin O'Connell, and the last 2 years, I don't think there was a team that played more 3 wide receiver sets than the Los Angeles Rams. And Kevin O'Connell just happened to be their offensive coordinator. I think you're going to see this team open up a lot more. And it is amazing the production, the historic production, 2-year production that we've gotten from Justin Jefferson, despite this being a run first, very conservative team. That's what Mike Zimmer did. Try to play defense, which team couldn't, but run ball first, limit possessions, and win games. And that's why they lost so many one-score games. I do not foresee that happening a lot with these Minnesota Vikings. I don't see them losing all the one-score games that they've had over the last 2 seasons. And they could very well, and it's going to pain me to say this because I don't really like them, I could see them winning the division quite comfortably because they don't have the strength of schedule that we, in fact, actually that's not true. I think we have tied for the same strength of schedule going forward. I can see them potentially winning the NFC North if things break for them in certain ways because, as Dwayne mentioned, you have Justin Jefferson, you have Adam Thielen. If you can get a healthy Dalvin Cook for most of the season, which is certainly not always the case, yeah, you're going to have a very prolific offense, and you just have to be able to stop the run sometimes. And yeah, this team could honestly win the division and win the game in the playoffs. That is.
So I don't know if Minnesota, for me, it's just that this defense has been historically bad. Like as you guys said, like bottom 5 in every category, right? They just can't stop anything. And then you bring in an offensive-minded coach in O'Connell, which I think honestly might be a hindrance because you're bringing in a completely new system, right? Even though it's the system is suited for Cousins, Jefferson, Thielen, it might not be as suited for I don't think it's as suited for Dalvin, even though they're a run-oriented team that they run through Cook, right? That was not the Rams' forte, is that they were going through. They're more of one that wants to focus on misdirection and use jet sweeps from the wide receiver, use the slot. I mean, you could line up Cook in those various positions if you really wanted to, but I think that honestly might hurt his productivity this year.
It will.
And of course, the number one thing with Minnesota is their health. Because Dalvin Cook, you can put your money down that he's going to miss 4 games, right? Minimum. You can put your money down on that now.
As as a fantasy footballer, it hurts me that that's true. It hurts me that that's true.
As someone who drafted him last year and he played only like 6 games for me.
I drafted him and Alexander Madison. I picked him up off of waivers, so I was okay because
so you were thriving off of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, yeah, I was. I
stay away from drafting Dalvin Cook in anything like a good down player, but just can't stay on the field.
To Justin's point about Minnesota being a playoff contender, that's true, but I think that's more so just because of the state of the NFC than it's because of how good the Vikings may or may not be. Like we're talking about, and again, I said at the top, like the Packers, I think are going to win the division. I could see Minnesota winning it, but the Packers are going to be a playoff team, whether they're first or second in the division, right? Although I think they'll be first. The Bucs are going to be a playoff team. The Rams will be a playoff team. Someone from your division has to make the playoffs, and I'm already on record as saying that it's I think they should change that rule, honestly, but I'm on record as saying that I think that's going to be the Eagles.
Only.
Yeah, 7 best teams in each. That's how it should be, but whatever. I think that
Cowboys are a good team.
They're a good team, but I think I think similarly to with the Bengals in the AFC North, the Eagles are the only team in that division that got better. Every other team in the division, like clearly better. Like, okay, yeah, Washington improved at the quarterback position, but is it really going to be that much of improvement? We don't know. The Giants,
Did they improve?
That's what I'm saying. It seems to be an improvement on paper because at face value, it's like Carson Wentz or Taylor Heineke. He's like, oh yeah, I'll take Carson Wentz. Is it really an improvement? I don't know. The Giants are the Giants. So I'm going to say the division winners are Eagles, Packers, Bucks, and Rams. And there's only 3 spots left. I think the Saints will be good this season, especially if they get Jameis Winston for the entire season, because they were looking like a playoff team last season before he tore his ACL.
And he was just game managing. He wasn't even playing.
And he wasn't even really like being what he was and what we expect him to be out of college, which was a really good player. So you got Jameis Winston out of in New Orleans. You have to give some credit to the Cardinals and San Francisco, although I don't think either will be a playoff team. There's still potential there. Obviously, we talk about the Cowboys, and now we're talking about the Vikings. And here's a shock. Kick me off the show if you want.
Don't do it.
Chance.
Don't see it.
There is a chance. It's a slim one. It's a slim one.
Goff is still the quarterback.
But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We've seen twice now in 3 years Jimmy G take the 49ers to the NFC Championship game, and one time it was a Super Bowl. There is a slight chance. I wouldn't bet on it, but there is a slim chance that the Detroit Lions could potentially make it to the playoffs.
I
wouldn't bet on it, but here's the thing. I
will not kick you off there because honestly, there wasn't a team that played harder for their coach.
They play so hard. They have so much stuff going on for them offensively. I think you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think is going to be incredible this season. You're talking about. Look, I don't like Jared Goff either, Justin. I'm on record as saying that Jared Goff stinks. Okay, I say that, but I think DeAndre Swift's going to have a really good season this season. He did, but I mean, hey, the defense got his team. That's true. I like DeAndre Swift. I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm just saying though that like it's possible if things go right. Their schedule's not that crazy. They have a lot of toss-up games against other bad teams like the Seahawks, like the Jaguars. I think they play the Commanders. They play the entire NFC East. Actually, they put the Commanders week 1, if I'm not mistaken. I have them winning that game, by the way. You're welcome. It's a friendly schedule for the Lions, but if we're being realistic, we're talking Vikings, Cowboys, Saints, 49ers, Cardinals. Maybe
I don't have the Cardinals making the playoffs.
But I don't either. But I'm just saying, if we're looking at like what they got on paper, so I say all that to say I think the Vikings will be right around, and I know it's a little bit early. We're going to do it later. I think the Vikings will be hovering on 8 or 9. Those extra wins as far as potentially winning the division, because the Packers are going to get 10. So we're a lock for 10. I don't think. I know we'll miss Devontae Adams and MVS, but I don't think the drop off will be a 4-game drop off where we go from winning double-digit games 3 straight years to not cracking double digits this season. We'll win at least 10. It's going to take at least 10 for the Vikings to win the division. I don't think they will. All I'm saying is I think the Vikings will be good, but if they're going to make the playoffs and potentially win a playoff game, it's going to come down to the defense, because the offense is going to give them 8 because they gave them 8 last season. The defense is going to have to be good enough to give them at least 2 more. I don't know if the defense is that good to get them those 2 games against what are likely going to be tough competition. One of those games could be week 1 in Minnesota against our Packers, Justin, because there's going to be a lot of growing pains, I think, with the new offense and everything, with there not being Devontae and MVS. Aside from that, they'd have to find one more. I don't know if they can do that.
I don't have
but on paper.
by the way.
I don't either. Like I think that I wouldn't be surprised because it's Aaron freaking Rodgers, but it's and the Packers don't lose division games out in the NFC North under Matt LaFleur except for one time, and that was when Dalvin Cook came to Green Bay, and what did he do? 204 that game. That was a devastating game to watch. But yeah, I just want to know, like, the Vikings will be good. I don't know if they'll be a playoff contender because of them or because the NFC is just really weak this season.
Definitely because the NFC is really weak this season. I don't think it's really close. I don't think it's close. And I think you guys have both made valid arguments of saying that they're going to be a cuss team, right? They're going to be hovering. They'll be right on that within a game. Because what was it last year? 9-8 was the last team that got into the playoffs. Was that Philly?
Oh, yeah.
Philly was 9-8.
Yeah, Philly was 9-8. Yep.
So right then and there, that puts you in contention for that potential tiebreaker mumbo jumbo. So I think that'll be intriguing to see. But yes, the NFC is clearly down in comparison to how stacked the AFC is if we're comparing both conferences, right?
Quarterbacks win games, apparently.
Quarterbacks win games. All right, let's jump to the next team. And that is honestly Marcus's favorite team because he has his hot take of saying that this team is going to be the worst team in football. That is the Chicago Bears.
They will stink.
And
they're going to be the worst team in football.
They're going to be the worst
writing's
team
on the
in
wall.
football.
Take it away. I have nothing to say. Let him finish the segment.
Really? You have nothing to say? Because I will crap all over the Chicago Bears.
The biggest issue was getting rid of Matt Nagy, but I think Matt Nagy has now left them in a worse position that now they're going to stink. And what do? They bring in a defensive-minded coach for when you're supposed to be trying to figure out what your quarterback is in Justin Fields. And Justin has heard this rant before about that Ohio State quarterbacks do not translate to the goddamn NFL.
Whoa. Wait a second now. I want to push back on that a little bit. I do.
Push back
Just
on it.
A little
I
bit.
went off on 4 minutes. You can list the last.
I know. I was there. I listened to it. It was beautiful. A beautiful soliloquy, expertly done by Blaine Spencer. Reminded me a lot of Stephen A. Smith. I enjoyed it. I'm sorry, not Stephen A. Smith. Skip Bayless. Anyway,
that's even worse.
Well,
I was about to say that's not a compliment.
It is worse, but I wanted to.
All right, push back. Go ahead, Marcus.
I wanted to be
before you go on your tangent about your Chicago Bears.
I wanted to give a little bit more accurate analogy because of appearance. Anyway,
oh my Lord.
Here's the fact of life, right? Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields, the last two guys to be drafted out of Ohio State, the quarterback position. Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, went to your Washington Commanders, who suck, and Justin Fields has gone to the Chicago Bears, who might as well just be called Aaron Rodgers Jr. because they suck too. Listen, here's a fact of life. Who's on the roster? Defense stinks. Love Roquan Smith. Defense stinks.
Khalil Mack.
Offensively, who's he throwing the ball to? Darnell Mooney. I think he'll be okay, but who else? Cole Kmet. I'm not buying the hype.
I was reading this thing and they
said
wins.
Two.
I want to jump in here because I want Marcus
at most three.
Run well. So I'll let Marcus jump.
Let's be honest,
here.
they're gonna suck.
They are gonna
suck. Here's
Here's
the thing, right, with the Chicago Bears, right? And this is where now my prehistoric nature actually can help the show. I can tell you now. The reality is, and I've said this, especially in football, culture and tradition matters. And so you ask, why was Matt Eberflus brought in as a defensive-minded coach? Because that's the culture of the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to explain to you.
Their Chicago culture has sucked.
And it has, but all of the all of the Chicago Bears teams that have done well, when we talk about the great team of the 80s that won a Super Bowl all up to present, every time they win or get to the playoffs, what is it? It's because of their defense. They play in extremely cold, frigid temperatures. They play on a very, very bad Soldier Field, and they want to tell you Soldier Field is
terrible.
One of the worst. Sorry, Blaine, I'm going to rip you. The only field worse than Soldier Field is that
is
field
the Washington, FedEx Field, because it's literally falling apart.
Because the stadium has collapsed like 3 times in like the last 2 years.
No, it's
Every
collapsed
time,
3 times last season. How about that?
like you can assure that quarterback is going to get
Keep
injured.
jabbing the Commanders, baby.
just playing football, your quarterback is going to get injured in Washington. But going back to Chicago, right? Their culture, their tradition, their ethos is building and winning through defense. I'm not telling you I agree with it. I'm just telling you what it has been from but because it's time right up to now, that is what the Chicago Bears have prided themselves on. That's what they do. Similarly, it is not a coincidence that the Green Bay Packers have had 3 legendary quarterbacks, because that's what they do. They develop quarterbacks, or they know how to draft quarterbacks and raise them. Hence, and then you see all of this production. I'm not telling you Jordan Love is good. I'm just telling you Green Bay Packers have a system of A, identifying quarterback talent. They missed on Jordan Love, unfortunately. B, when you look, all of the great receivers that have come through, like these are not highly drafted receivers, but these receivers have always come. When you talk about from as far as Antonio Freeman, oh my gosh, I forgot Sterling Sharp, all the way
He
back.
should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should, but that's another conversation for another time. Don Hudson, I can go on, and then up to present day, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. So like that's the tradition, that's a culture of Green Bay, like finding gems in the lower rounds of receivers and developing them. And the most underrated part of that is them developing offensive linemen. That goes like you come in Green Bay, you're drafted as an offensive lineman, you better believe you're going to be good, because we have a culture, tradition of drafting and developing offensive linemen. That's what we do. So going back to the Bears, to answer your question, Blaine, it is the culture and the tradition of the Chicago Bears to be good, to build their base on defense. Like, this is one thing that's going to shock you, Blaine and Dwayne, when they tell you, maybe not Dwayne, because Dwayne has lived his entire life in the division. The Chicago Bears have never had, I want to say, or at least had one. No, they've never had a Pro Bowler, a Hall of Famer at the position of the quarterback. Never had, not one. Absolutely not one. Like, that is not their culture. Their culture, for whatever reason, for whatever purpose, whatever, they just don't target these coaches that know that position of football. The Chicago Bears just do not know what to do, or how to develop, or how to teach the quarterback position. And that's just it. So when you ask me, why did they go after Matt Eberflus, whether right or wrong, whether they got the right guy or not, I'm not here to say whether or not I'm going to judge him as the seasons go on. It's their tradition. That's what they do.
They might average 10 points a game on offense.
This is what I'll say about the Matt Eberflus hiring. If you had talent on defense, I wouldn't be so hard on it. There's no talent defensively. Who is he going to coach on the defense outside of Roquan Smith? Listen, I get it. And traditions are fine and granted. That's a nice word that everybody throws around. They throw it around for family time with Thanksgiving and Christmas, all this nonsense. Listen, some traditions are made to be broken. Okay. There are some things you just shouldn't do anymore. All right. Like, you get a certain age, and I'll die on this hill. This has nothing to do with anything, but you get a certain age, you should not. There is a gap of life, okay, between pre-adolescence and right about where Justin is, which is senior citizenship. You should not be wearing pajama bottoms. That's my personal opinion. I feel like there's no reason why you should be 20 years old wearing pajama bottoms. Whatever. The point is, the Chicago Bears have done nothing building on a defense. You have a stud at the quarterback position whose name is Justin Fields, who fits the mold of what looks like is a successful quarterback nowadays in the NFL. A young, strong arm guy that is mobile and can evade and can turn something and can turn nothing into something. Talk about Pat Mahomes, talk about Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson before he stopped keeping his hands to himself. All these great young quarterbacks could do it. Kyler Murray, even, all these talented young guys. You got Jalen, you got Justin Fields, the what seems to be the prototype of young quarterback success. And instead of going out there and trying to keep Allen Robinson and trying to maybe bring in some other help, build up the offensive line, draft maybe a rookie receiver, you know what I mean? Maybe get some help at the tight end position, the running back position, or bringing in an offensive guy to coach him. Instead, you hire Matt Eberflus. And then a month and a half later, maybe a little bit more, you send Khalil Mack out the door. Who's on the defense for Matt Eberflus? The Chicago Bears are going to win 2 games. I give them 4 max. They'll be picking. They'll have the number 1 pick in the draft, and they'll ruin it because unfortunately the Justin Fields experiment isn't over because he hasn't been given a fair shot. So they're not going to draft a quarterback, and they're going to make a terrible pick with the number 1 overall pick in the draft next season. Mark my words. I don't know when this is coming out, but I said it Wednesday, July 13th, 9:42 Eastern Standard Time. I don't know when Blaine's dropping this. Mark my words, they're going to make a terrible. they're going to make a terrible pick. You still got some daylight, so it's possible. They're going to make a terrible pick, and I'm going to come back on whatever show and say I told you so. The Bears are winning 4 games this season. They're going to suck. You're right. They might just average 10 points this season. They're going to average 10 and allow 35. It's going to be terrible. Terrible football out of the stadiums. The stadiums don't look like it did in the pandemic. Empty, no fans whatsoever.
Well, no, Chicago Bears fans
except for when Aaron Rodgers comes to town, because the Packers will fill it up, and then Aaron Rodgers will score like 17 touchdowns in 2 games combined.
And then he'll say, "I own you" for like.
Of course he does.
Time.
You might as well.
I am not.
He honestly should put in a minor.
Rename Soldier.
The Bears would take it. He should honestly.
Of course, he should. The Aaron Rodgers deserves 2 statues when he retires. He deserves a statue outside of Lambeau Field. He deserves a statue outside of Soldier Field for just absolutely embarrassing the Chicago Bears since he's been an NFL quarterback. It's been insane. A beautiful thing to watch, though, but it's been insane.
I will say this. I will not slander the Chicago faithful. I know them. They will turn up to games whether they're bad or not. And
why? They shouldn't. They should not.
So, again, I'm not here to defend Matt Eberflus hiring. I'm not here to trash it either. I'm just explaining why they did what they did. And whether right or wrong, whether successful or not, this is the path of the Chicago Bears. I am with you, though. I'm not saying this tradition needs to end. I'm just telling you, yeah, I agree with you. There are traditions that need to end. There are culture changes that need to happen. And I'm hoping that Eberflus, because I think football is better when the Bears and the Packers rivalry mean something. I really do.
Here's something that's interesting, real quick. I'm going to say what I was going to say, and then I'm going to say on that. So, number 1, okay? The Chicago Bears will be...
He's laughing before he can even get it out of his mouth.
The Chicago Bears will be lucky to win 3 games this season. I mean that. Now, here's what's interesting about the Packers and the Bears rivalry, okay? Because I read somewhere that the Bears all time have 1 more win than the Packers do all time against each other. So, or like just actually it's all time in general.
All time franchise.
What needs to happen, and it's going to happen. What needs to happen is, and they will. The Bears need to lose week 1, which they will do, and then when the Bears come to Lambeau and the Packers win, the Packers will, for the first time in the history of both franchises, have more wins than the Bears. I don't know why I felt to say that, but I just felt they need to say that.
I think that's kind
the
of
Bears
given how bad the Bears are going to be.
The Bears absolutely suck. I mean,
Justin Fields should honestly take the season off and be like, yo, like I wouldn't blame him without any help.
I wouldn't blame him. Look, if I had a dime for every time the Chicago Bears were good in my lifetime, I'd have 10 cents.
No, you'd have 20 cents.
I'd have 10 cents.
No, again.
You're talking about the double doink. And when they went
I'm talking about the year they went to the Super Bowl. That's
You're not even counting the double doink.
No. I'm not.
I'm not counting that either.
I'm not. Because if your kicker can't make a game-winning field goal, team's not good.
I'm going to tell you though, right? As a guy who hates the Bears more than anybody I know personally, because obviously you grow up a Packers fan, you have to hate Chicago. And I go through O'Hare Airport quite often, so I also make sure to wear either jersey, hoodie.
You're fine. O'Hare doesn't do anything. Midway's the one you got to worry about.
Right. So
Justin is the quintessential troll, and he doesn't even troll the right way. You know, you got to go to the Midway, bro. You can't go to the business airport and expect to get some slack.
Let's be honest.
Ain't nobody going through Midway.
It's in Lombard, apparently.
Oh, well. So I'm gonna tell you, as much as I hate the Chicago Bears because it is what it is, I honestly do not want to see them this bad because I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Football is better when this rivalry means something. And right now, in my estimation, for me, for Packer fans, for fans of football, this rivalry means absolutely nothing.
Well, Justin,
but I mean, it's
decade then. So
it's 2 free wins. I mean, why are we? Come on now.
And that's
let's
the
stop
thing.
splitting.
I do not want to see this team be this bad. I don't. I really don't.
That's so against your religion as a Packers fan. You're supposed to be dancing. You're supposed to be with me, hand in hand, tap dancing on their grave.
I want to beat them, but I don't.
You want to pay. You want to come to the funeral and pay your respects. I'll dance on top of the casket at the funeral in front of Dick Butkus. What is he gonna do? Nothing. I think Dick Butkus might be dead actually. So.
No,
I think Dick Butkus is dead. It'd be
If he is, I apologize. I never speak ill will of it. I'll change it. Mike Ditka. There we go. He's not.
Dick could be the one that be coming with a cigar to come beat your ass.
He would. But yeah,
he'd be like, I don't care that you're stomping on my crap. I'm gonna beat your crap, beat the living crap out of you.
No, it's easy. Yeah, you want to beat the Bears every time, and Bears week for Packer fans and the Packers in general mean something. But outside of us, this rivalry means absolutely. Ask any NFL fan that does not call himself a Packer faithful. Name them top 5 rivalries in football. They're not going to name you the Packers and Bears. It's sad.
Well,
that's what happens when you have a bad organization up front making all the decisions.
Chicago has a whole lot of issues worse than their football team. Let's be honest. But all right, let's go to the last team we have on our slate tonight, boys. We have the Detroit Lions, who we easily have all agreed upon as the most hardworking team, even though they couldn't buy some wins.
Well, Justin's a little disappointed because we didn't get any bitten kneecaps or live Lions on field last season.
Oh, it's because they were doing trick plays against you guys in the last game of the season to beat you. So get over. So
hold on, Blaine. I'm going to start on my rant now.
Go ahead. Talk about Detroit, man. It's all you. I was gonna give you the floor anyway because Marcus got the Bears. So
I was promised kneecaps bitten out. I was promised a circus, including lions walking around that center field, and got absolutely none of that.
It was a budget problem.
I got this hard-working team that was losing games. I don't want to see that Matt Campbell. I want to see. Sorry, Dan Campbell. Where did you get Matt Campbell from? Dan Campbell, you promised me bitten kneecaps. Nobody walked into Detroit losing a kneecap, complaining about sore knees. There were no bites. There were no charges. No police charges filed. I have a sincere problem. And then you told me you are going to trot a real-life lane out there. Crap be damn coming from that lane. I did not get it. I am upset.
Who was the team that did that VR thing? Was that Carolina that did that with the Panther?
Yeah.
They should try that before they try an actual line.
No,
even though that VR thing was absolutely
you need to go to the nearest downtown zoo, pay the damn lane tamer, and bring that lane out on the field. If not anything less I don't care if you make the playoffs, anything less than a live lane and somebody missing a piece of a kneecap, whether it be ACL, MCL, PCL, or the actual kneecap bone. This is not a success. I talked about title or bust. It's kneecaps / real life lane or bust on the Detroit lanes. That is where I'm going. I am disappointed in Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell promised me last season this is what was going to happen. He did not deliver. He did not say I'm going to come to win playoff games. He did not say I'm coming to have a winning season. He said specifically kneecaps will be bitten, live lanes will be roaring and walking on the field. Neither happened. It was a disaster in Detroit. But let me, in all honesty, now, I love what the Detroit Lions are doing. God. I must admit, I'm not here cloning. I'm not here. Let me give my guy Dan Campbell a clap. What he has built out there. Not only we always talk, we make it easy, right? And Dwayne said lazy takes. I think it's not a bad. This is not me attacking one. I think it's just lazy to see that this team is playing hard for their coach because obviously they're playing hard for his coach, right? The Detroit Lions are building a football team the right way. And yeah, I'm going to show my age again. I always believe in building teams from the lanes out. And you have seen their attention to the offensive line, their attention they're trying to make to the defensive line. I mean, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson was a no-brainer for them, even though I think Kayvon Thibodeau is the best player in that draft. But that's another topic for another day. I like what the Detroit Lions are doing. They nailed the draft in my estimation because moving up to get Jameson Williams. Granted, he may not play half of his rookie season, but pairing him with Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to give you a lethal 1-2 combination on the outside for years and years to come. Amon-Ra St. Brown is my personal hero because he won me my first and only ever fantasy football league. Yeah, it's the first time I played it. I had Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then I realized, wait a minute, let's start playing this dude. Unstoppable Blaine and Marcus. I tell you, it was unstoppable.
You won the league, or you just won the game that week?
I won the league on the back.
Wait, is that the league? Wait a second.
How much was the buy-in?
Isn't that the league? Isn't that the league against your in-laws who know nothing about football? That doesn't count.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions after all.
Oh, phooey.
But yeah, I like what the Lions are doing, and I also like them not giving up, paying a king's ransom, giving up a house mortgage for any of the quarterbacks in this class. Because if you think that Dwayne Marcus was tough saying that these Chicago Bears are bad, this quarterback class that entered the NFL is bad. And I said it. This quarterback class is bad. If Kenny Pickett is your top overall pick out of the quarterbacks, then you are in trouble. This is bad. Malik Willis is not good. I mean, let me not go down this road of being knocking on gentlemen because they want to see all of them succeed. I am glad that the Detroit Lions held off a year of taking their quarterback and waiting for this class, which is supposed to be good, to upgrade at the quarterback. And it doesn't make any sense changing up from Jared Goff because the reality of the situation, the Detroit Lions are not in a position or trying to win a Super Bowl right now. So it doesn't make any sense going after your quarterback in the future if their
Marcus
quarterback
has them as a sleeper.
The Detroit Lions. Mark this on your calendars. The Detroit Lions by 2028 will have been to and won at least one Super Bowl.
So you're telling me in the next 7 years?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But I do think though.
What a hot take!
I do believe it would have been. I do believe. What if it comes true? Man, maybe I do believe. I don't know. I do believe though that between now and 2028, the Lions will have been to the playoffs at least 3 times. That I do believe.
I think the Detroit.
That extra team helps. Let's be honest. That 7 team gives
it does.
A lot of leeway.
It does.
It
does.
And I think that they're just. I don't want to say just a quarterback away, but they're trending in the right direction. I see what they're doing. They're building again. They paid attention to the offensive line and defensive line, and they're building their teams from the lanes and going outwards. And that's I've always said football games are running trenches, and I'm glad that Dan Campbell understands and realizes this. The Detroit Lions, I don't have them as a playoff team this year. I will be shocked if they're not in. I will be shocked if they're not a playoff contender in at least 3 seasons. I'll be shocked.
Let's be honest. There's 2 teams last season that finished dead last in their division that have a slight chance of winning their division this season. One of them
Detroit
is Detroit.
Who's the other?
The other one is the Houston. No, I'm just kidding.
Baltimore. No, they didn't finish last.
They didn't finish last. They finished 3rd. If Cleveland had Deshaun Watson, they might finish first. No, in all seriousness, though, I really enjoy what the Lions are doing. I think DeAndre Swift's going to have a breakout season as soon as I get up in my fantasy stuff, which starts. Actually, I'm doing a fantasy show August 2nd, which also is the second year in the second. Dang it, I can't. Words are hard. Go talk.
Anniversary.
Thank you. There it is. 2nd birthday. That's what I was trying to get out, and I just couldn't. It's late. Anyway, fact of the matter remains. DeAndre Swift, I think, is going to have a good season. I think Jared Goff is the perfect guy for this because I think Jared Goff recognizes that he's not the long-term answer, but he's a serviceable quarterback that can kind of do just enough.
If you speak to Jared Goff, he will tell you different.
Of course, he'll tell you different, but I mean, he's supposed to feel that way.
Let's be honest.
He's not.
He went out there injured a couple times last year because they know they have nobody else at the quarterback position.
Yeah, like look, you want to endear yourself in a franchise? Do what Matt Stafford did. Go out there, throw a touchdown on 4th down with one shoulder hanging out your socket. Of course you can, sure.
Can we get them off at Thanksgiving yet? please.
I enjoy seeing the Lions on Thanksgiving. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. No, and this is why.
God.
This is why. The reason why I enjoy seeing the Lions play on Thanksgiving is because the Lions are always playing another bad football team on Thanksgiving. And although two bad teams playing on a national holiday is good,
football game
exactly.
How bad they are.
See, now if you're talking about a situation where you got the Lions playing against like the Packers or the Bills on Thanksgiving, okay, I don't want to see that. But if you're talking about the Lions playing the Bears, the Jaguars, the Jets, put a bad team against another bad team, that makes good basketball.
Are they the Jets? Or are they the Cougars now?
You know what? I need to go dap Zach Wilson up because he just won man of the he deserves Walter Payton Man of the Year for his performance so far this offseason. That's incredible. That's
All right,
oddly
boys.
enough. Last thing I'll say, Zach Wilson in high school. You guys want to guess what his high school mascot was for this football team? It's the Cougars.
It's the Cougars.
Perfect.
He played at BYU Cougars, so
Nothing new.
It all lines up.
Yeah.
my guy.
He's already put in the petition to change the New York Jets to the New York Cougars. It's already coming. Like we all know this.
Exactly.
I love you, Zach Wilson.
All
He's
right.
a ballsy guy. Got to get him on the show. Talk about how he pulled that off.
There's no way we're gonna be able to pull him off and go onto our show. We had to call the Cougar. We call the Cougar, then we get Zach Wilson on the show. There it is.
I'll try my best. I'm getting Zach Wilson on the show. Title of the show: I'm gone Cougar hunting.
I just want
I'm
to
sure
tell
you
you,
tune in for that.
honestly, though, I think the Detroit Lions are trending in the right direction. I think expecting them to get to the playoffs this season with Jared Goff still at quarterback may be a bit much. But
They're gonna go 17-0.
well, I mean, they went 0-16 already, so
I think would be the only team in history to go have an undefeated and an unvictorious season ever. So it's fine. Hey.
But yeah, what they've done with Dan Campbell as head coach and just building the team, I can't stress enough. I know I keep saying this. They have built that team the right way, and it is only unfortunate that places like Detroit and all these teams in the Midwest are not free agent destinations. But I like what they're doing.
Last thing I'll say, I feel like every time we talk football, Justin has to bring up a free agent destination. Like it's just in the back of his mind. The phrase "free agent destination" has to be said, or else it's not a football show.
It's not a football show. Don't do that.
All right, let's do win counts. All right, I know we've kind of been doing it.
Yeah.
I have Green Bay winning 11. Then I have Minnesota winning 8. I've got Detroit winning 6. And I have Chicago winning 4.
It's too much.
All right.
It's too much.
All right, Marcus, go. List your 4 wins.
Green Bay's I'll say Green Bay's. Honestly, I think Green Bay can go 13 again this season. They've done it 3 in a row. I think it's possible they go 13 again. That's not my pick. I think it's possible they go 13. I'm going to say 11. I got Minnesota at 9. Have the Lions at 7. Maybe 8. It's a cupcake schedule, for being honest.
7, 8, 9. Let's just keep bumping.
No. It's 7 or 8. The Lions have a cupcake schedule. You got the entire NFC East. You got 2 games against Chicago. Right. It's a cupcake schedule. They're not going to beat the Bears. They might beat us because for some reason NFL loves to give us Green Bay versus Detroit last week of the season. Guess what's week 17?
Jordan loves playing quarterback, so you know you're going to.
So yes, you can chalk. Yeah, we can chalk that up there. I've got the Bears. I said it already. They got 2 wins on the season. They'll be the worst team in football. The Bears might go 0-17 this year.
All right. That's a little harsh.
I'm not deviating much from that. I have the Packers at 11. The Vikings, I keep toggling between 9 and 10. So because I'm trying to be a better person in life, I'll give them 10. Detroit Lions, they have an offensive-minded head coach that can get away from just running football and trying to kick field goals. So I'll give them that extra win. Detroit Lions, because the extra game, I'm trending 5 and 6, so I'll go 5.5 just because the betting line. Yeah, so 5.5. But honestly, yeah, 5. And
over under probably is 5.5 for that team.
Yeah,
so
over under 5.5. So I'm gonna go under on that still though. So 5. And Chicago Bears, I have to agree with Dwayne. That's 2. That's a 2. And
they're gonna be
quite frankly, they may actually be lucky. I can't believe it. No, they look at it right. They actually may be lucky to win 2 games. It is not out of the realm of impossible with the lack of talent that is going on there that they pull equal a single win in the entire division. Because
0-17, baby.
Get the bags out, Chicago.
It is easy to say right now, right? I don't think it is a hot take, a stretch of the imagination, a reach to right now say that Detroit Lions are comfortably a better football team than the Chicago Bears.
They were better than the Bears last season.
Even though the Bears had more wins.
Yeah, well.
Detroit just couldn't figure out a way to close out a game last year, Detroit.
Yeah, and I wanted, as I said, I'm here to give Detroit love this season, right? So I think last season, a lot of people didn't realize how many close games Detroit played in. The very first game of the season, they came all the way back against San Francisco 49ers, lost in a one-score game there. It took Justin Tucker's greatest kick, like the best
on
kick
a play that shouldn't even have happened.
Hey, on a play that should not have counted because the referee, that play should have been dead. That should have been a delayed game. So that play happens, and the greatest kicker of all time had to take his best ever kick to win a game in Detroit. They played the Rams stuff. Yeah, I think it's quite possible the Bears go all 70. But yeah, I'm here still to give the Detroit Lions some love. They played the Rams stuff. They beat us in the last game of the season. They beat the Minnesota Vikings. They tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers, another playoff team, and I think that they probably should have won that game. The Detroit Lions could arguably say that they should have been a 4-5 win team last season. So I'm here to give them some love and actually give them the 5 wins that they should have had last season, this season.
Love it. So we know Chicago's going to suck. Everything else is kind of a coin flip in the other 3 teams because it's going to be all dependent on how they can play in one-score games. Other than your guys' Packers, we'll see. And then we have an issue. What is the definition of title or bust between Marcus and Justin? But Justin, tell the followers of the Final Whistle what is going on with you up next and where to catch your content and give you a subscribe and a follow and whatnot.
Please give us a subscribe and a follow. Put that hashtag before this just in. So it's hashtag this just in. If not, then you'll be going to Max Kellerman and his ESPN show. But hashtag this just in. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. But primarily our long-form content. We are on YouTube every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, live. So this coming Monday, we are likely, and I predict it now, we are going to be talking about that Kevin Durant trade that will happen. I predict that it will happen this weekend. I'm just hoping. But we will talk about the Kevin Durant in the Phoenix Suns. No, probably not. But I suspect a 14 trade will happen. Kevin Durant centered around also Donovan Mitchell, and we are going to get some movement this weekend. And I suspect at some point in time, Brooklyn are going to let go, give up the ghost, and just move Kyrie Irving to Los Angeles like we all know is going to happen. So tune in Monday night after the weekend when that happens.
Marcus, what's up with you next and where to catch your contact as he's holding his zeros up, trying to predict he's trying to find the Chicago Bears franchise, but they have no wins.
I can't find it. I had to take my glasses off. I can't find the wins they're gonna have this season. Anyway, it's always a pleasure to talk to these 2 knuckleheads. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at GTP Marcus. You can find the show Go Talk with Marcus. Instagram, not Instagram. I already said that. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Excuse me, this is gonna take a lot out of me. So, Dolphin show dropped on Monday. Go check that out. Colts show dropped on Wednesday. Go check that out. Chargers show dropping with my guy NFL Mike dropping Friday. And then next Monday we got Saints with plugged in with Jay. We got who picked after the Saints in the draft? I can't think of it. There's 2 more shows. The point is I'm the busiest man in the business right now, and you need to follow me and everything. You're gonna check out. You're gonna miss it. And Blaine is gonna tell me to shut up after this, but I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna pit myself out. Are there any attractive women out there that looking for some TLC? Smart, attractive guy. Knows about sports. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm not gonna drop my number, but I did just drop my socials.
Take your glasses back off again with the Chicago Bears. They can't find them. Can't find them.
If you out there looking, you know what I'm saying? You tired of all the bozos in your life, just call on me, you know what I'm saying? My name is Marcus.
We have fallen off of the deep end of the Final Whistle Sports
I'm
podcast.
Here. Okay, I'm here. I can keep the glasses off. I can put them back on.
Marcus,
whatever you need. I'm here for you. I'm here.
Marcus is here. He's looking for some women. If you're watching, go find him on his stuff and reach out to him with a DM because He loves y'all.
I'm a man of the people, but more importantly, I'm a man of the woman. That's all I'm saying. Look,
Justin's trying to maintain some composure right now.
Justin's
He's
married.
Go see
okay,
the
let's be honest. Justin's married, and Blaine, I don't think has any aspirations. Look, I'm here. Okay, that's me and you. I'm here. Call on me. What Erykah Badu say? Call on Tyrone. Except my name is Marcus, but it's fine. Just call. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
This is the Final Whistle Sports Podcast signing off. Have a great night, everybody. Be on the lookout for more content from the Final Whistle and check out the other divisional breakdowns that will be coming out.
Hit my line.
Hit up Marcus's line. Thank you. Good night.